These are the classroom notes for exercise 1C, cumulative data or cumulative frequency is what we're going to really be looking at today. So what usually happens is you'll be given a frequency table. So these first two columns you'll be given, so height and frequency, or you'll be given a whole set of data that you need to then draw in the frequency table. From that, we need to actually then do the cumulative frequency column. So you can see that the answers are already drawn in here for you, but we need to work out what does that really mean. So this first result here of 3 means that there are 3 results that are less than the largest number that is here. So this is results from 170 to less than 175. So what that means is we have 3 results that are less than 175. Okay, so I'm going to put the 175 in here so that you can see that what it really means when we come to graph it. When we're looking at on our horizontal axis of being 175, our vertical axis is going to go up to 3, and we'll see that a little bit more later. So the next cumulative frequency result is 9. So there are 9 results that are less than 180, because 180 is the value that it's less than here. So the way that we work out the 9 is we take the cumulative frequency from the row above, so that's 3, and we add in the frequency of this value. So 3 plus the 6 gives us 9. Then if we move on to the next one, we've got 185. So there are 21 results that are less than 185. So how did we work out the 21? Well, it's the same again. The value before, which was 9, plus the frequency in that group, which is 12, which gives you the 21. And the same again. The next row is we've got values less than 190, and we have 31 results that are less than 190. So that's calculated by the 21 from the previous column, previous row, and added the 10 of the frequency between 185 and 190. And the same for the next one as well. So 195. There are 39 results that are less than 195, which is just the 31 from the previous row, plus the 8, which is the frequency between 190 and 195. And the last one, we have 40 results that are less than 200, and that 200 is calculated by, whoops, sorry girls, that the 40 results that is less than 100, less than 200 is worked out by 39, which is the cumulative frequency from the group before, and adding on the 1 for the frequency of this one here. Okay, so I hope that makes a little bit more sense of how you work out our cumulative frequency. The other thing when we come to draw it in a moment is we need to also talk about how many results were less than 170. And we didn't have any results less than 170, so we would put in 0. So when we're graphing it in a moment, and we'll have a look at the notes, we need to start off on our horizontal axis at 0. So if I just change the slide so you can see that. Okay, if you're asked to draw it, which is what is here, here's what you need to do. We know that our smallest value is 170, and we have no results less than that. So we start off on our horizontal axis at 170, and you'll see that the 2 lines just before it just symbolize that our scale doesn't go uniformly from 0 up to 170. We're just focusing in on the results that we've got. So you mark your first value at 170 at 0, and then 175, which is here, you then mark your value as being at 3, and then at 180 is 9, 185 is 21, etc., etc. Once you've marked in each of those points, so I'll just draw it in just so that if this was you, you'd be marking it off here. Okay, and then at 3, and then at 9. Once you've drawn each of those on your own graph, you grab a ruler and you join each of the points together. So then it gives us what we call an ogive, which is what you're seeing here. So when you come to draw one of these, you need to have a look at how far does your cumulative frequency need to go up. Well, in our case, the highest frequency is 40. So our scale on our cumulative frequency must go up to 40 as well. So you can see here. What you also need to do, the largest value, 40, is also equal to, in percentage terms, 100%. It's the total results here. So if we have a look on our high side, the largest value that we have is all results are less than 200, and that matches off with the 100% on the right hand side of our scale. So when you're drawing this, you need to have a scale on your left hand side, okay, which you can see here, which goes up to 40. Your largest value, so in our case 200, is also where you draw on your vertical axis for your percentages as well, and it goes up to 100%. Obviously halfway is 50, half of that is 25, and halfway between 50 and 100% is 75 as well. So you might like to draw those in, but you need to definitely draw in 100% and show where 50% is as well. So that's how you basically draw a cumulative frequency ogive. Now what we are often given is questions that ask about reading off the graph. So if I just change slides so that you can see that. Okay, so an ogive is also known as a cumulative frequency polygon. It's used with group data. Obviously we've had groups and we've gone through how we've set it up. And it's used as an estimate. It's not a precise thing because we're talking about values between a range. So if we have a look here for question A, it says how many girls have a height less than 182. So this could be a very common sort of SAC question. So on your graph you find where 182 centimeters is, and you can see here the line is drawn up for you. Okay, so you draw your line to where it hits the graph, and then you draw a horizontal line to read across where it hits the cumulative frequency. So from this I could read off 182 students, sorry, the height of 182, there were 15 students who had that height. So it is just an approximate, remember, but reading off the graph, we have 15 students that had a height less than 182. So if we have a look at the next question that says, what percentage of girls had a height less than 180? So you find where is height of 180? So you can see it here on your graph. Okay, you draw a line up to where it hits the graph, and then you read across to where it hits your percentage. So we've got 50%, 40, 30, 20, 10. So it's somewhere between 20 and 30%. So I'd be saying it's closer to the 20%. So it might be approximately 22, maybe 23%. So when you're looking at your answers, when you're doing these questions, if your answers are close but not exactly the same, that's okay. If they're way out, then you need to have a chat about what went wrong as well. Okay, so reading off the graph is really important information. Let's have a look at a couple more things as well before you start the questions. So percentiles. If we're looking about the 90th percentile, obviously that's where 90% is, which you can see is here. So if we read across, so we're doing the opposite of the last question. So 90% is here. Draw a horizontal line on your graph to where it hits the ogive, and then drop it straight down. So we could see from here that it would be, I think it's approximately 193 centimeters. If you said 194, that would be fine as well. So I'm just going to type in 193 is how many centimeters I think it would be. Okay, so what that means is that 90% of our girls have a height of less than 92 centimeters. So I'm just going to cross out the more than, it's less than. Okay, so that's all the notes for today, girls. I'm looking at drawing them. Okay, these are the questions down the bottom here that you need to complete, and obviously if you've got any questions that don't make sense, make a note of them and we'll go through them in class next time. Thank you.